Hi, I'm still studying video game history. This time I want to tell you about the beginning of the history of text games. In the beginning, children have toys and imagination, and that's enough. Later they learn more and more, read fairy tales and stories. What could be more interesting than a story where you are the main character? The first can be considered Colossal Cave Adventure. It introduced the world to a new genre, but Zork popularized the genre. At one point, the game became a mandatory attribute of each owner of home PC. The game topped the charts, and maybe there are still those who love this game. But first things first. It all started on a stormy Friday in May 1977. It was the day of the first Star Wars movie. Colossal Cave Adventure was interesting for 4 students of the Dynamic Modeling Group Campus Laboratory. They spent 2 weeks studying the game. They decided to do something new and improved. They didn't want to look for work, and making their game was the perfect way out. Adventure is compared to the stories of Sherlock Holmes. It is interesting what will be at the end and immediately want to read the next story. But Adventure did not have the next part. The 4 students were very different. Dave Labeling had a degree in political science. Mark Blanc, in fact, got into medical school. Bruce Daniels was a tech guy, and Tim Anderson was supposed to get his master's degree, but he didn't really want to leave MIT. They started with the name and chose Zork, one of those meaningless words from the institute. The first version almost completely copied Adventure. In both games, it begins as a house in the forest before entering the caves. In both games, the player must explore caves, find treasures and avoid underground volcanoes, locked bars and trolls. Over time, the world of Zork began to develop and become less realistic, more menacing and gloomy. For example, a player could fall into a bottomless dark pit if he did not have a light source. The thief from Zork was far more cunning than the pirate from Adventure. It made the game more interesting and more difficult because the thief could just steal something from under nose. With the improved parser, it was possible to input long and complex commands. For example, put all valuables except torch and coin in trophy box. There was no matches in the game. For example, a robot that could help get out of the cage. There was nothing he could do about the puzzles. Now Zork is remembered more as a historical fact than as a full-fledged fine product. According to contemporaries, it is difficult to call the game a masterpiece. The world was too strange. Elven swords next to robots, subterranean chasms with mechanized dumps next to broom closets. It's hard to take humor when you are in a dark cave and monsters are running around. There was a lot of jokes. At the same time, the game became popular both as a sequel to Adventure and as a standalone product. The game was ready when the guys just ran out of the space. The file could be up to a megabyte of text and code. Some of the creators founded Infocom shortly after the creation of Zork. The company moved the game to the PC by splitting it into 3 parts. As a result, Infocom became one of the most legendary studios of text games. In 2007, the Library of Congress decided to archive games of cultural significance, and Zork was in the top 10. As a result, hundreds, if not thousands, of games based on Zork have been written to date. The creators were thrilled that they had helped create an entire genre in the industry. When the developers announced the completion of development in February 1979, they had no idea what storm they had created. In general, the game is legendary and will always remain in the history of the industry. Thank you for your attention. See you later.